Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the IGF session 2 to 3 on the award for the first telecom operator, for the first operator giving us affordable access for education, health, and empowerment. And I'm very, very glad to have with me Claire Sitop from the GSMA Mobile for Development, Sudhir Dixit from the IEEE Connecting the Unconnected, George Pereira from the EU Commission, responsible for DG Connect, 5G, 6G, and whatever is coming up. Nicolas Nassar from the Internet Society in Tanzania. Asrat Mulatu from the Internet Society in Ethiopia. Suvaina Farah, our guest of honor from the Vodacom Foundation in Tanzania. And Azem Adil from the GIZ. Our online moderator is Catherine Kimambo, here on my side, and our rapporteur is Jonathan Muringani from the Basic Internet Foundation. So the way we organize the session is that we see that connectivity is still the challenge number one. What we've done in the past is, sorry, next slide, please. We have the collaboration with GSMA to actually address the challenge of Africa south of Sahara, 75% of people basically being unconnected. And out of that, the coverage gap is rather small, 15%, but the usage gap is a lot bigger, 59%. 59% don't use the mobile broadband, though they would have the chance to use it. And that has been the question for us, what can we do in the future? And based on the experience of having connected 250 schools, next slide, we follow an approach of where we say we work together with universities and operators and everyone else to build the national research and education, to strengthen the national research and education network, enable universities to connect, and get our students to go out to connect schools. And together with the operators, we then connect the schools and build the community learning and living labs. These are basically the takeaways, and with the next slide, I then just show you the practical story. Some of our mobiles are interfering, sorry for that. How we work with the community. And you see, like Catherine with one of our installations at the schools, reaching 20 to 25 kilometers. Without any further delay, I would then open up the floor for Claire, our collaboration partner at GSMA. Please, Claire, can you tell us a bit more about M4D and the things you are doing?
Inclusion and lead on digital inclusion and gender at in the mobile development department at GSMA, and we're very much looking at trying how we can ensure that those who are not connected are able to connect and use the internet to meet their life needs. And as you highlighted, there's both the coverage gap also and a big usage gap. And in our research, we're seeing that the biggest challenge is in terms of being able to use it is a lack of affordable handsets and devices, literacy and skills, but there's also issues around lack of relevant content and services, safety and security concerns. And so I think taking a holistic approach to kind of both improving affordability skills, improving safety and security, and ensuring relevant content is really needed to ensure that people are able to use the internet to realize the benefit that there is and not be left behind in this, our increasingly digital world. So I think the sort of collaboration, the kind of collaboration that you've been doing and talking about is absolutely critical if we're going to address this sort of multitude of issues. And those who are unconnected are disproportionately rural, women, poor communities, lower education, and persons with disabilities. So we really need to be focusing on specifically these segments if we're going to ensure that they're not being left behind. So thank you very much for the partnership and for the initiative that you're doing.
Oh, thanks so much. Claire. That was a short, fantastic introduction. And so, without any further delay, Sudhir Dixit from the IEEE Connecting the Unconnected. Can you give us the pathway from standards? What is IEEE helping us to connect every single human on this earth?
Thank you very much, Joseph. Good morning to all of you. My name is Sudhir Dixit. I don't have much time. So basically, I'd like to talk about what IEEE is doing as far as the standardization of technologies for rural communication is concerned. So some of you may know that IEEE is a member-driven organization which has about 500,000 members around the world. IEEE stands for Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It has many different divisions, and one of the divisions is Standards Association. And in the Standards Association, there is an organization called New Standards Committee. So any new standards that people would like to propose, they come to this committee. And in this committee, there is a there's something called a rapid reaction standardization activities process, whereby every idea that is submitted, it gets considered in a very short time, and it goes to project authorization request phase, where it goes into the study group to be made standard. So, what happens is that there is something called Rural Communication Standards Activities Program within this New Standards Committee. So all the proposals that come here, they get considered, as I said before. And there are 4 goals of this Rural Communication Interconnect program. One of them is study socio-economic and regulatory issues related to rural broadband. The other one is study existing rural broadband infrastructure. Third one is study normal broadband architecture from 6G perspective. And fourth is to propose new standards. So just to give an example, this is a new body within the New Standards Committee. About a year ago, we had 15 proposals that were considered by Rural Communication Standards Activities Committee. Out of those 15, which came from around the world, 5 of them, they never showed up during the meeting. So 10 were evaluated and they were discussed. And out of those 10, 1 was selected to move forward to project authorization phase. And out of that, and that was made into a project that is called P1962 project. So this is the only project that is going forward for standardization within the as far as the rural broadband communication is concerned, amongst many other ideas that people have come with. And you'll be very interested to hear that this idea is about connecting people and organizations in a rural area to broadband infrastructure by utilizing solar panels as optical communication receivers. So the idea is that people have these solar panels at home, and they will act like receivers of optical signals directly wherever they may be coming from. So that has been considered to go forward for standardization by the IEEE Standards Committee. And that was approved only recently, about a month ago, and the kickoff meeting of this study group is going to take place on 1st of July 2025. So in summary, what I would like to say, that anybody as an individual or an organization is free to submit their idea or a proposal for potential standardization to become a standard, to be called a standard by IEEE. And I would also like to mention that many of us think that technology is the success, but that is really not true. To be successful, You need to have the technology, of course. You need to know what the user needs are, what the market needs are, and there have to be standards in place. Without the standards, no manufacturer will build products because they are looking for volume to justify investment in any manufacturing process. So standards is a very important part of the overall process to have an infrastructure that will be deployed at a larger scale. So with that, I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, Sudhir. And of course, without standards, we wouldn't have Wi-Fi, we wouldn't have connectivity, we wouldn't be anywhere. So from that one, I give the floor over to Jorge Pereira. Jorge, you are driving with a 5G, 6G connectivity all around Europe and the world. Give us your take on connecting the unconnected.
Good morning, everyone. My apologies for not being there. Thanks, Joseph, for the kind invitation. I don't know if I have time to present my slides, but indeed, as Joseph has mentioned, we have been for a long time trying to provide and ensure coverage for all in Europe. This is not easy, and this is not straightforward, because as it was already mentioned by Sudhir, the issue is that there are market interests that make it that return on investment is not guaranteed, namely for the rural areas that Sudhir mentioned. So in the context of our programs, we have defined, first of all, the so-called 5G action plan that aimed at providing access to everyone, everywhere, not only in the major cities, but also across the major transport paths in Europe. And this was done already in 2016. This was later expanded in the Digital Compass of 2021 to make sure that there would be effectively 5G everywhere by 2030. So this is now a much more precise and taxing objective. But it's not only the issue of coverage. It's also the types of services that people will be able to receive. We have addressed this in two main areas. In order to cover the main transport paths in Europe, we have launched an activity called 5G corridors for cross-border connectivity, because it is important that the fact that you move from one country to the other, that you do not lose services, and especially for those people living near the borders, this is a major issue. And the other activity centers around the so-called 5G communities. This started initially as the so-called project Wi-Fi for all, which provided grants for remote communities to be able to provide service to the community, local community, focusing around the so-called strategic development entities, which are schools, hospitals, but also the firefighters, the police, ambulances, libraries. So this type of community services are the main targets of these 5G communities. So we went from Wi-Fi for all to 5G for all in these communities, and this represents a significant investment that is still going on, with the objective of providing gigabit connectivity for all households in Europe, which is a big undertaking. All means really covering not only, again, the major conurbations, but even all remote outlets across rural areas. And the second one is to ensure this delivery of advanced services. And it's not only education and health, but it's also safety, public protection, and these activities that are, again, mostly in rural areas that have to do with smart agriculture, the objective being of really promoting these advanced services and addressing the digital divide to make sure that people can really have the full benefits of this connectivity. There are still many challenges ahead. It's not only ensuring proper coverage, as I said, return on investment. It does not make this attractive for these sparsely populated areas, but really providing these advanced services to these smaller communities is again a challenge. So what are the costs? Who is going to cover this? All of this makes it difficult. But one measure, I would say, and critical aspect is the actual involvement of communities, because what I mentioned before, the 5G corridors and the 5G communities usually involve municipalities to provide these services, to provide the connectivity in the last mile. But in many areas, if you're talking about an isolated farm or things like this, we are not talking about communities, about municipalities. So how can the community, how can the individuals really get involved in all of this and have the full benefits? With this, I give the floor back to Joseph. Thanks.
Thanks, George, for the insights of the 5G for all and the community-driven. And I think that brings us directly over to you, Nasser, right? Because Tanzania is like community-driven, or what is your take?
Thank you, Joseph, for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Dr. Nasser Nicholas Kirama. And I currently work for the Internet Society, and I am also the community networks champion, advocating for connectivity in Tanzania. I think one of the things that we need to realize is that there is an issue of investment, for the shareholders, and also there's an issue of digital divide in rural and urban Tanzania. And the number of telecom dark areas in Tanzania is still very high because of the issues of investment on infrastructure. And, this exacerbates the number of people who are still not connected to the internet. And the reality on the ground is, for example, if you are in Dar es Salaam, the commercial city of Tanzania, as you move maybe like 15, 20, 30 kilometers away from the commercial capital, you start experiencing instead of 5G, you start experiencing 3G, 2G, and sometimes no G. And the issue is about really, like I've said, is about the cost of investment. The infrastructure is very high. There is an issue of also even in those areas where people are connected, the internet is still very unreliable. And also we have another issue in there of digital literacy. We have to really understand that, the infrastructure is very expensive. Much as we would like the telecom operators to be everywhere, the issue is really investment in infrastructure. I wanted to highlight one of the impacts that we have been working together with Joseph and Basic Internet Foundation to connect. We are able to connect schools using a very simple, basic equipment. And the appeal is for those who believe in a holistic approach to the Africa digital future to invest in social programs like this one. And this will enable as many schools to connect one at a time. And with that, we can bring hope not only to the schools, but also we can connect the community around in terms of health and agriculture as well. So with that, I give mic back to you, Joseph.
Oh, thanks so much, Nazar. And I think the views which you had from Tanzania, that is the views which might be slightly different in Ethiopia. So, Azrat, could you tell us what the situation is in Ethiopia?
Okay, good morning, everyone. And thank you, Joseph, for inviting me and raising this very critical question. So the issue of this, attracting and scaling up stakeholders' involvement in providing affordable connectivity for schools, health stations, and communities needing a multi-pole strategy, because that is very critical. So because everyone has its own interest. So one of the key points would be, policy initiatives and regulatory frameworks. So in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Communications Authority, ECA, is, creating these policies like through tax breaks, universal service fund, which they are already finalizing the framework, and the public-private partnerships, which are very critical. So this could have, give a sales connectivity, a viable business case for ISPs and other stakeholders. Besides that, as a second critical point is we have to demonstrate projects and pilots in these underserved areas as a proof of concept, so that they can see tangible social impacts, which is another very critical point. From the third point, we can have some kind of financial models, blended financial models that can de-risk investments for ISPs, and other multi-stakeholder interest groups can chip in as we go on. The other one is very important: local ownership and demand generation. You have to engage local administrations, school admins, and community associations early in the process, so that we have local buy-ins and sustainability, which is very important. And in the long term, it will bring new demands for services as they enjoy the different aspects of it. Then maybe at the last point, we can have, data-driven advocacy is very important, because one of the problems I have seen in Ethiopia is lack of, awareness what such initiatives could bring to the local community in urban and several areas. So, we have to demonstrate the return on investment, which is very important, and what kind of social value of connectivity it can bring. Okay, so this needs evidence-based arguments, empirical evidence, so that we can build political confidence, which is one of the challenges here in Ethiopia. The other one is it will build financial momentum, so that we can, expand the pilot to other places. So as a summary, this issue is very critical, especially in Ethiopia, where underconnected in many places. Only connectivity is in rural and areas. That is the biggest challenge in Ethiopia, and much of the population is not living in urban areas, unfortunately. So this needs to scale up, in the stakeholder approach, aligning policies, showcasing impact, and mobilizing mixed funding mechanisms, so that we can build grassroots ownership along the way. So Ethiopia is, growing in digital momentum, as you can see, in various aspects. So this might piggyback on these advancements and efforts, so that smart inclusive engagement is brought. So these are the facts in Ethiopia. Thank you, Joseph.
Oh, thank you so much, Azrat. And we talked so much about digital public infrastructures here at the IGF. And of course, Azim, you from GIZ, you are heavily involved in all these discussions on policies. Could you give us your contribution or your take from the GIZ in this area of connectivity and infrastructures and so on?
Thank you, Joseph. And first of all, thank you for having me on this panel. And you know that I'm a fan of your work. I totally believe that access to quality education and healthcare is not only a privilege, but it's kind of a fundamental right. It's a fundamental human right. Yet, across many parts of the world, we totally see that, and especially in Africa, these essential services still remain out of the reach of millions of people due to the high costs, infrastructure gaps, and geographic barriers. This is where the concept of affordable access for education and health becomes crucial. It really focuses on the breaking down these barriers by leveraging inclusive, low-cost solutions. Yes, at the forefront of GIZ, the German Development Corporation, which is supporting our partners' countries to harness digital public infrastructure. And in that regard, we have so many examples to share, several initiatives which has been taken with the time. I will like to talk about few of them. Let's talk about education. So GIZ supports digital learning platforms, digital solutions such as those are coupled with the offline and online approaches to provide access to the remote communities, and our major platform like Atingi, which is already providing services for the millions of learners across Africa, and gain free access to, people can gain free access to hundreds of multilingual courses aligned with the local needs and national standards. Not only this, but in healthcare, GIZ also supports for e-health and m-health, including mobile apps and digital health records. Our Smart Africa partnership that also advances on the data governance and health data sharing frameworks across the continent. These efforts are essential to building cross-border digital infrastructure that supports not just health system but also broader digital solutions. Strategic partnerships are very essential for GIZ work. With global tech firms and sport ministries of education and integrating digital learning into national strategies, these collaborations ensure not just innovation, but alignment with the national policies. Another initiative like Develop PPP program to co-finance with private sectors for the innovations that promote affordable access to essential services. I'm sorry, my throat is a little bit dry, so I will keep drinking. For example, the startups and companies receive support to develop scalable solutions under this Develop PPP program. GIZ's work is guided with a couple of principles, which are some of them I would like to highlight. Let's say the local ownership. We totally believe that the programs are co-designed and with the local governments and communities for long-term impact. And other of the thing is, which we really consider, is scalability. That the initiatives start small, but are designed for the national and regional scale-up. Gender inclusion, special focus for the women and the young, for the marginalized groups. Cross-sector partnership, like with the civil society, startups, as well as with the multilateral cooperation. With these examples, I would just like to conclude here my discussion, and I would say that the affordable access for education and health is More than a development objective, it is a commitment to dignity, equity, and opportunity. With digital tools, strong partnerships, and community-driven solutions, GIZ is really helping to ensure that no one is really left behind. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Asim. Your commitment to dignity and the point out to the opportunities. Svena, we worked together for the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, and we went to many downgrades. But at the end of the day, I see really the highlights. So I'm very pleased to have you as the guest event owner. We didn't get you over here yet, but we'll do it symbolically afterwards. So please tell us about the journey and your commitment from Vodacom Tanzania to launch the affordable access.
Thank you so much, Joseph, and thank you for having me. It's unfortunate that I couldn't be there with everyone in Norway, but happy to be able to join online. That's the power of technology nowadays. But in a nutshell, I just wanted to highlight with regards to our work as Vodacom Tanzania Foundation. First and foremost, we believe in the power of partnerships, and that in itself speaks volumes of what we have been able to do for the last 20 years. This year, the foundation turns 20 years, and we've been able to improve more than 10 lives across health, education, as well as economic empowerment. And this is purely because we believe in the power of technology and connecting people to a better future. But if I may, I'd like to touch on some of the work that we've worked on when it comes to affordable access, as well as connectivity in the education sector. In the past, we've been able to provide and connect more than 250 schools across Tanzania, providing ICT hardware, building computer labs, as well as tablets and routers, so that the schools can be connected to the internet, but also they can access thousands of materials and resources for the students and educators, as well as provide affordable and reliable internet to them all. This has enabled access to digital learning materials and platforms that have improved education outcomes. Our recent impact assessment shows that there has been considerable improvement, significant improvement in educational outcomes in the schools that have supported. But over and beyond that, we've also understood that there are gaps, and most of them are a result of digital literacy, specifically on the teacher training side of things. And last 2 years, we've shifted our focus towards the digital skills and empowering teachers with the right skills and literacy and learning tools to be able to serve the students, but also further communicate to the communities on the importance of that. We've expanded school connectivity to underserved and rural areas, and this is through partnership with the likes of our Universal Communication Service Access Fund, as well as the World Bank and the government of Tanzania through the partnership program that we do have, public-private partnerships program that we do have called Digital Tanzania Project. And that, in the last 3 years, all telecom operators have been able to deploy more than 700 towers in rural areas to connect. We've gone over and above what we have committed, but also we are embarking on a mission to upgrade our network to 4G coverage, to ensure that what Dr. Naza had mentioned, that when someone has 5G coverage in the city, how do we also make sure that, or ensure that someone in the rural area has the same access, and not necessarily maybe 5G, but at least 4G and not 2G anymore. We've collaborated with many partners, Catherine sitting on the panel there with African Child Program, but as well as we've signed a memorandum of understanding with the Tanzania Institute of Education to zero rate their platform, which is a platform that provides resources to teachers in 184 centers. But we've also connected all those learning centers to ensure that they do get timely updates on their platforms, as well as scaling affordable internet solutions and maintaining the infrastructure there. Our purpose in general is to drive the digital divide in education and to bridge the digital divide in education. And this, we do it by ensuring that every student and teacher has the tools and connectivity they need to thrive in a digital world, but to also advance Tanzania's vision of inclusive technology enabled learning for all. On investments on infrastructure, Tanzania as a country, I believe we've been making many strides over the past years. If I look back 10 years to where we are today, there has been significant investment on infrastructure. There's still significant hurdles that we need to cross over, everything from energy and power in rural areas all the way to accessible roads, so that these infrastructures, these towers, can be maintained and ensure that we provide the connectivity that is needed to the citizens and to the public in those areas. But digital literacy has been at the core of what we do, and we see significant improvements with regards to the programs that we run. And last but not least, affordability of devices. I believe there's quite a lot of interventions that we can put in place as telecom operators, but as well as government. While we do enable access, usage is still very low, and this is because of the small percentage with regards to smartphone penetration. And nowadays, through a smartphone, they can access resources, and would also drive further the improvement of educational outcomes, but also access to different facilities from multiple sectors. Last but not least, I'd just like to conclude by thanking Joseph and everyone in the room, and also insisting that partnerships are key if we want to see the digital world a thriving digital world that we want in place. Thank you very much, Joseph.
Oh, thanks, Savannah. And of course, it's a bit difficult, but we want to really acknowledge the partnership which you brought across. And for this partnership, we have Sudhir from IEEE, we have Claire and Ruth from GSMA, we have George from the EU Commission, and us, and we'd love to symbolically give you this one over to Catherine, who will hand carry to Tanzania. So congratulations to the award. And I hope that your inspiration, which you are giving to us here in the room for connecting the 250 schools at a price down to 60,000 Tanzanian shillings for a 10 megabit per second link without data cap, which is about $22 to connect a school with unlimited data. That has really been the game changer in Tanzania. And we really hope that this is scaling up to the whole of Tanzania. Thank you so much. Having said that, if you have a question, this is the time for you to jump in. You have so much expertise here. Please go ahead and bring your questions across. The mic is over there, and the online questions is also here. So while we have one participant going to the mic, then we take one online question, which is, Nazar, that is to you and to you, Savannah, and that is, what are the policy frameworks in Tanzania to actually foster the school connectivity? Do you have specific policy frameworks?
I probably will talk about what is happening in terms of recognizing the framework to recognize small operators. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of recognizing small operators like, for example, community networks or community internet service providers, the regulator has come up with, the framework to see how they can accept, small operators. That is the one that I know of. But we have the Tanzania Digital Economy Framework 2024-2034. That one also recognizes the importance of connectivity, especially in the rural areas. If at all, Tanzania and Tanzanians have to realize the fruits of the digital economy. That is what I can say for now. Thank you.
Okay, so the second question is goes to Zuena. So it addresses why internet service providers and operators engage in such initiatives, and what are the potential benefits?
Thank you, Catherine. I would start with our why, with regards to why we engage in such initiatives. For Vodacom, it is embedded in our purpose, and our purpose we are a purpose-led organization, and our purpose speaks on one, empowering people, two, protecting the planet, and three, maintaining trust. And across all our commercial activities, purpose is embedded, whether it's through digital inclusion, financial inclusion, accessibility, or ensuring that our actions, our activities are not harming the planet, and what we do to ensure that there's restoration and reforestation as well with regards to our activities. So that is why, that is our why. We believe that as a technology company, as a telecommunication company, we can connect people to a better future. On the aspect of what is the benefit, one is that having increasing digital literacy, increasing digital skills, we're seeing an uptake of data services. But also on the other end is that to be able to reach people, to be able to improve lives, we need to be a digital connected world, but also access to educational resources, access to health facilities. We've worked across these three different pillars of health, economic empowerment, as well as education. And we're seeing remarkable improvement in all the regions that we work with, as well as better improving lives of Tanzanians. We believe also that it is our duty as an investor in the country to ensure that our work improves the lives of the Tanzanians. Thank you.
Thanks, Suena. And we have someone who wanted to ask a question from the room. Please introduce yourself. And we only have 2.5 minutes left, so very short answers, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joseph. My name is Barak Otieno. I chair the Association of Community Networks in Kenya, and I have partnered with Basic Internet as well in community connectivity in Kenya. Some quick points. First, congratulations, Vodacom Tanzania, for showing the way and working towards lowering the cost for connectivity. Now, quickly, in addition to the issues that have been raised, evidence-based research is key in addressing this particular topic of affordable access for education and health. One of the learnings from the projects that I have done with the Basic Internet Foundation is measurements using the network cell InfoLight. And this has been key in actually identifying areas that do not have an adequate signal that can provide meaningful access to the community. As we speak, there's still approximately 70% of sub-Saharan Africa that does not have meaningful access, and that is still in using 2G, while the global north has already moved out of 2G or some of the countries that are at the sunset phase of 2G. So this is an area that we need to deal with. Secondly is capacity building, targeting the government, targeting civil society, targeting private sector players, and academia. We attempted a similar approach in Kenya. We only succeeded with 45 schools because the government said education is free. So why are you talking of charging the schools, yet you know very well that we have a policy framework that dictates that education is free? Thirdly is the issue of advocacy, which we are doing here. I'm happy to see Naza from the Internet Society. I'm also a member of the Internet Society chapter, and the association and the chapter and many other stakeholders are engaged in advocacy to make sure that we create more awareness in this. Lastly, the definition of meaningful access varies. For instance, right now in Kenya, as per the education framework...
You have to conclude. We only have 10 seconds left.
10 seconds, yeah. Meaningful access is 50 MB, while in some environments or contexts, we are talking about gigabytes.
Sorry. That was a long closing remark. I think we covered all the points. If you have more points, I'm very happy that you joined us. Thank you so much. And by this one, I close the session. And again, we are looking forward to have more telecom operators to join us and ISPs on the path for affordable access for education, health, and empowerment. Thank you, everyone.
All right. We can raise for a picture, I think.
Yeah.